In class on Thursday and Friday, before we took the quiz, I gave the students this short review worksheet to work on together for some extra practice. And I've got a copy of a blank one for you in Google Classroom, but I thought I would just give you this quick video with the answer key so you can check your work and get a few more pointers before you're ready for the quiz. So on this first one, the blue one is our parent function, but that G1 gets shifted, and it gets shifted to the right 4, and we know that because of what's with the exponent, and when it's with the x, it's the opposite. So since this one said negative, we moved it to the right, and then we know it went down 3 because of this minus 3, so we moved it down 3. So when we find the points in our calculator, then we can plot them. But then when we are looking for the domain and range and everything, we are looking for that graph that is transformed, which would be on my screen, the red one. So the domain, you can put all the numbers that you want to in for x, so you can get negative infinity to infinity. For the range, remember the range goes from bottom up, so it starts this way, and where it approaches, and we're looking at the red one, it starts at -3. Also notice at the end of the equation it says -3. That's not a coincidence. So it starts at -3 and continues on up. So it goes from -3 to infinity. The y-intercept, I got this from my calculator. So where x was 0, this was the y for the y2 graph. For these interest problems, this first one, it said it compounded quarterly, so I knew I need to use the first formula. And yes, the formulas are given to you on the quiz. You just need to know how to use them. So this 10,500 was the principal, so I did that times 1 plus the rate as a decimal, which is 0.032, divided by the number of compounding periods, which was 4 because it was quarterly, raised to the n, which is 4, times t, which is time, which is 15, and I get this 16,000 number. If it had said monthly instead of quarterly, you would have done it 12 times, and if it said semi-annually, you would have done it twice, where there was a 4. But on question 4, it said that it compounded continuously, so that's how you knew you needed to use the E equation. On number 5, it says to find the inverse. And when we find the inverse, the first step is to flip the x and the y and then solve for y. So I subtracted 9 first, and then over here I multiply by the reciprocal. You do not change the sign. It's not the opposite reciprocal, it's just the reciprocal. On the here, I'm distributing that reciprocal, so I got -4/3 x, then a negative times a negative is a positive. 9 divided by 3 is 3, times 4 gives me the 12 over here. Don't forget your fancy notation. Number 6, find g of -3. So since there was something other than x in this last parentheses, that means to take whatever this is and plug it into g. So I had -3 squared first, which is 9, and times -5 is -45. On 7, because there was an x in here, I knew that there was nothing I needed to substitute into the equation. I just needed to follow the directions, which was f times g. So I multiplied this function times the second function, and I distribute them, and I got this. If there were any like terms, I would need to add them together. Finally, on number 8, this was the composite function, and you've got to work from right to left. So first I found g of 2, and that gave me -20, and then whatever that answer is, I was going to plug it into f, and then that gave me the -129.